Camelot331 here, and I get a lot of messages from people on Twitter and Instagram and other things like that, and they always ask me, hey, Camelot, should I get a job at GameStop in 2022? Should I get a job at GameStop present day? And I can only give you some bullet points on why I don't really think that's a good idea. I mean, if you're watching this channel, you probably understand that I'd rather jump off a damn cliff, face first, and catch my eyelid on a damn rock than to actually work at GameStop again. Doesn't matter how much you paid me, okay? I'm just being honest. It's a pretty terrible place, but a lot of people don't understand why, okay? And I'm gonna tell you exactly why today. And these reasons are pretty damn spicy, okay? So it's gonna change your damn life. So make sure, before we get into this, give this video a thumbs up, doodle. It's very important nowadays, apparently. And subscribe to the channel if you have not. Also very important. So let's get into this. So first things first, okay, is pay. Look, every job starts out with pay. You know, your financial stability is most important to you, unless you're living with your mom and dad and they rich as hell, which that was not what I got to experience. I was in a trailer that every time the wind blew, I thought it was going to tip over. It's pretty damn scary, all right? But if you depend on your financial stability to exist comfortably, then GameStop's not the place for you. Why? It's because they're the lowest paid retail store almost in existence in our country, the US of A. Currently, right now, part-time in almost every state makes minimum wage. Probably actually does make minimum wage in every state. In my state, that's $7.25 an hour, I believe. So that's what you're going to make as a part-timer at GameStop. Also, as a part-timer at GameStop, this goes without saying, you're not getting any hours. You're basically there to use the discount and to be used for any ploy that they decide to use you for. Grunt work, maybe, okay? So that's how pay works. Now, you're thinking to yourself, but what if I go full-time? All right, what if I'm a third key or an ASM or an SL, which is a store manager, which doesn't really exist anymore, but we'll get into that later. You're going to be paid probably about $8, maybe $9 an hour as a third key. As an assistant manager with unbelievable responsibility, you're going to make around $10 to $11 an hour. That's pretty much where you're going to be. Now, as a store manager, when I was working there, there was a lot of people making $12 an hour as a store manager. For the things that these store managers have to deal with at GameStop, that is unbelievable. When you can go over to Target and make $15 starting out, just walking around bagging something. Okay, that's the difference. GameStop doesn't pay anything. When GameStop made jillions and jillions of dollars off their stock sell-offs, their stock took off and Reddit went ham as hell, they didn't pay their associates anymore, which is crazy to me. I figured the first move would be to invest in their frontline associates, but guess what? It wasn't. Can you believe it? But that brings me into the next point. When you have pay, what comes after that? Raises. When I was at GameStop, I worked at GameStop from 2007 to 2018. Every year, I got around a 3 to 8% raise depending on how my store performed. At the end of my career at GameStop as a store manager, I was making around $17.50 an hour, and we had 4 hours of mandatory overtime every week. So we got 8 hours in the check. So that's like $20-something an hour. So it wasn't that bad. It was about 38 grand a year after everything. It wasn't too bad. It was pretty bad, but it wasn't too bad. Thinking back on it now, wow. But still, the pay's pretty terrible. But GameStop hasn't given a raise to almost any of its associates in 3 to 4 years. Zero. There is no more raises there. And the first thing they tell you every year is they're going to reinvest in their employees, and they just don't. No raises. You're not getting one. So unless you don't care about money at all for any reason, that's another reason to stay away from this godforsaken damn place, because they don't give a damn. They just don't. One of my favorite things at GameStop was going to the conference in Las Vegas every year. That was the funnest damn time in the world. Not only that, is they kind of, paid our way. Now, granted, they gave us like a $100 to $200 credit card that was prepaid, and we could use it, but it was a great time. It was a great time to go out there and get a free room and just kind of party, and see the new games and whatnot. Well, GameStop stopped doing that a long time ago. They don't do that anymore. They do a virtual conference in store that you're required to be on, a conference call basically every day. It's terrible. Why would you do this? This is awful. This is not the same. At least let me stay home while we do this. Jesus, man. God. No, but they don't even do that anymore. That's gone. No more Vegas, man. Like, what the hell is even the point anymore? But another thing that's gone that I used to enjoy about GameStop is midnight releases. They're gone. All right? Eventually, it got to like 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. releases, depending on the time zones. But midnight releases were pretty much all I looked forward to. is going there, talking to like-minded people about games. Elder Scrolls Skyrim was a fun one. Call of Duty Black Ops was a fun one. Halo 3, Halo 4, fantastic midnight releases that I always think about even to this day, being an old-ass man. That's gone. No more. Another thing that's missing from the environment, which made it bearable at the time. But the biggest thing to me is the fact that a lot of people think that when they start working at GameStop or they are looking for that job, that they're getting into the gaming industry. They're breaking into the gaming industry. And unfortunately, and it really, really sucked to look at like a bright-eyed 18-year-old's, face when they were like, I just want to be part of the gaming industry. And have to tell them that GameStop couldn't be the furthest thing from anything to do with the gaming industry. You sell games sometimes. That's the end of that story. Okay? There's a game poster here and there. That's the end. That's as far as that goes. Okay? There is nothing about the gaming industry with GameStop. All it is a cutthroat, goal, profit-oriented, just devastating corporate company. One of the most harshest ones that's ever existed, in my opinion. I don't know about today, but closing out on the end of my career, if you didn't hit your goal, your high, unobtainable goal, every week, you're written up with the first and final. I saw store managers get fired that had worked there for 10 years because they didn't make their goal for 2 weeks. And by goals, I mean the pro membership. That doesn't benefit you in any way nowadays. Your reservations, things like that, web and store, all these things that used to matter back in the day, that was all GameStop cared about. So if you're not getting those goals and pretty much having to cheat your way to do it in most cases, let's be honest, GameStop's aware of this. They just claim they're not. You know how it is. If you're not doing that, then you're going to be gone. Nothing to do with the gaming industry. All it is Walmart with a different color. That's all it is. Which brings me to a great point. You're selling games, right? That's what you think you're going to be doing. You're going to be talking about games. You're going to be selling them. But unfortunately, that couldn't be further from the truth. GameStop's a glorified toy store now. There's toys with some games. Toys and collectibles that are made in the most cheaply fashion possible to have the highest profit margin possible. That's kind of why that exists. So that's what you're doing now. You're selling toys that have a high profit margin with some games here and there, because let's be honest, new games don't really have a high profit margin. Consoles don't have a high profit margin, okay? It's about future sales, pre-owned sales, which is kind of going away as well. But you think when you go to work in one of these stores, you're going to have a close-knit group of friends that are selling games and having a good time. But unfortunately, you're under the foot of a giant cutthroat corporation that is eyeballing you and micromanaging you every step of the way. Every single moment spent in that store is filled with anxiety over if the next customer is going to get a pro card or get whatever flavor of the month thing that the corporate office is pushing. That's one thing that made me so happy when I left, is never having to worry about, oh man, I'm going to have to take advantage of this lady today. Oh gosh, I'm going to have to push this on this lady because unfortunately, I've only had 4 returns and 3 other new game sales. Okay, so I'm at 0%. So this next lady's getting a pro card or she ain't leaving, all right? Unless she's in a body bag, son. That's kind of how it got. Pretty terrifying. You ever go into these stores and wonder why they won't stop trying to sell you shit? It's because their damn rent and their mortgage depends on it. That's why. Now, the most important point of all this, guys, is store managers at these stores. So I was a store manager for 8 years, okay? There's a program called SL2, and what does that mean? Store manager times 2. That means a store manager runs 2 stores, 2 GameStop locations. GameStop's pretty much putting this in place in every single store in their whole company right now. Why? Because it means they can terminate half of their store managers and save that money and basically spread the entire responsibility of 2 locations over one body. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, that means they're getting paid a lot, right? No. I've had a bunch of these people reach out to me and they were offered 50 cents to $1 more an hour. That's it. Some cases $1.50 to take over a whole new store. You would think it would be like 50% more, right? Like $5? Nah, man. Nah. You get nothing. You get nothing for doing this. And if you reject this proposition, this proposal, they fire you. There is no. If they ask you to be an SL2, you say yes, or you're fired and they get somebody else to do it. It's pretty freaking terrifying, man. There is no benefit, and I mean no benefit, to working in these stores. Every once in a while, you'll get in a good conversation with a customer about maybe a game you like, but that's pretty much where it ends. And this was even true when I was there. I can't even imagine how bad it is now while I surf the Reddit and read messages that people send me. But what does that bring us to? It brings us to the customers, guys. The customers. When it comes down to the end-all be-all, GameStop's a retail store. So what does that mean? It means you're going to be dealing with Karens left and damn right. And it's no better at GameStop. It may be even worse because for some odd reason, they think you're lying to them about everything. And they think for some reason you price match everywhere. And you don't. And you have to deal with that. And also you have to try to sell those people stuff. At least at Walmart, you just scan the damn item and you tell them their total. Couldn't be further from the truth at GameStop. You're going to be dealing with the worst customers in the industry every single day. You're going to be dealing with moms telling you that you're a liar when you tell them Mario is not on PlayStation. Because that's going to happen. Well, my son saw it on a commercial, though. Are you calling my son a liar? It's coming for you. If I could give you any advice, guys, and I'm sure you knew the outcome of my decision here, do not work at GameStop. Every retail store is probably better. Hell, Dollar Tree is probably better. And it's depressing. Go get you a job at Target. Not much better, but you're going to get better pay. And at least there's that. And the store's bigger and you can hide from your managers. Hey, what's up? In my opinion, I would tell you to quiet quit. What is quiet quitting? You already know if you've watched my recent video about it. It basically just means meeting your job requirements and that's it. Not going above and beyond because they're not going to pay you for that. All right. So why do it? Right? They're not going to promote you or pay you. So why? So don't work at GameStop 2022, 2023, 2024, if it's even there anymore. It's not worth it. It's a terrible, terrible place to work. And I hope you take this video to heart. You share it with your boys that are considering it. You like it, you subscribe, and all that good jazz. And make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you get the hell on it. Doggone it. Bye. Yeah. Ooh.